How well do you know former President John Rawlings? President Rawlings was educated at Ghana's prestigious Achimota School, after which he enlisted in the Ghana Air Force. He was awarded the coveted Speedbird Trophy for excelling in flight and airmanship. Among other honorary degrees, he has received an honorary doctorate in diplomacy and development from Lincoln University, Pennsylvania, an honorary Doctor of Laws degree from the University of Glasgow. He has also been honored by Soko University in Japan. Professional experience and political career. Former Head of State and President of the Republic of Ghana, Flt-Lt John Rawlings, is admired on the continent of Africa and internationally for his charisma, sincerity, drive, patriotism, and participatory leadership approach. He is also known for his anti-corruption credentials, and for his unwavering advocacy of social justice, political and socio-economic empowerment of Ghana's people. He is the founder of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, a political party established in 1992 on the ethos of social democracy. In October 2010, the African Union appointed John Rawlings as the High Representative for Somalia to mobilize the continent and the rest of the international community to fully assume its responsibilities and contribute more actively to the quest for peace, security, and reconciliation in Somalia. President Rawlings has also been appointed Ambassador of the Pan-African Parliament in October 2011. John Rawlings was head of state of Ghana from 1981 to 2000, as well as for a brief period between June 4 and September 24, 1979, when he brought a potentially chaotic popular uprising under control, and handed over to an elected government. From 1981 to 1992, he was the chairman of the Provisional National Defense Council, PNDC, a joint military/civilian government. In 1992, he was elected president under a new constitution. After 2 terms in office, he handed over on January 7, 2001 and served as the United Nations Eminent Person for International Volunteerism. J.J. Rawlings initiated the Economic Recovery Program, ERP, a pragmatic economic program, to reverse Ghana's collapsed economy and subsequently, revive the financial health of the country so as to generate positive economic growth. The ERP's successful implementation restored international confidence in Ghana. Rawlings' primary objective was the institutionalization of a system of participatory governance that allows, in his words, people at the local level to determine their own development priorities, generate financial resources locally, and control the use to which those resources are put. Our objective is to end, once and for all, the parasitic relationship that enables the urban elite not only to live off the sweat of the rural dweller, but to dictate to him the conditions of his existence. Today, this works through district assemblies with decision-making powers, ensuring that Ghanaians at the grassroots level form part of decision-making and national development. J.J. Rawlings focused on implementing human-centered development policies in order to improve the health, nutritional status, and longevity of Ghanaians. Almost 40% of total public expenditure was allocated to education and the health sector alone. A comprehensive health policy was implemented to create a socially equitable system of health for Ghanaians. Under this policy, hospitals and clinics were rehabilitated and constructed at regional and district level to give rural communities access to health care services as well. Vigorous rural development programs were realized. Electrification, which was available to less than 20% of Ghana's population, was extended to all 10 regions and every district. While embarking on rural development programs, policies were implemented that expanded Ghana's middle-income group. In 1990, the National Development Policy Framework, NDPF, was developed under the National Development Planning Commission, which subsequently became known as Ghana Vision 2020, a long-term plan for Ghana to become a middle-income country by the year 2020. Vision 2020 remains an integral part of the philosophy of the National Democratic Congress. With food security a priority for Rawlings, agricultural policies were initiated that resulted in the recognition of Ghana's food production growth of 148% for the period 1995 to 1997 as the third highest achievement in the record after Jordan, 157%, and China, 156%, in the World Bank's 1999 to 2000 development report. Aggressive policies were implemented to support Ghana's traditional export industries such as gold and cocoa, and also to diversify its export content. In 1994, Ghana Investment Promotion Center was created to encourage and promote investment in Ghana. Export incentives were put in place to increase the supply of non-traditional exports through the establishment of export production villages, EPVs, and systematic market research. As part of government's policy to attract viable foreign direct investment to Ghana, the Free Zone Scheme was implemented in 1997. This was an extensive and generous incentive package for investors interested in developing and operating free zone enclaves and single factory free zones in Ghana. Whilst strengthening ties with progressive governments worldwide, especially members of the non-aligned movement, and providing support to the African struggle, he restored relationships with Western nations, as well as China and Japan. To enhance trade and economic cooperation between Ghana and other nations, J.J. Rawlings undertook investment tours to Western nations, emerging economies of Asia, and within the African continent as well. Under Rawlings, Ghana remained committed to peace and stability within Africa and internationally through its pursuance of a policy of good neighborliness along the country's common borders. This was consistent with Ghana's commitment to peace and stability, and crucial to the socio-economic development of Ghanaians. On the international arena, John Rawlings criticized the global system as inequitable, emphasizing that developing economies that are operating free market systems and undertaking structural adjustment are not deriving maximum benefit from such policies. Within the sub-region, John Rawlings contributed to conflict resolution and political stability in countries such as Rwanda, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. In 1994, he became the ECOWAS chairman during an impasse of the First Liberian War. Under his chairmanship, the Akosombo Accord and Accra Peace Agreement were signed. The Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, presented J.J. Rawlings with the Agricola Medal for promoting agriculture in Ghana. He is the 10th person to be awarded this medal after personalities like Pope John Paul II, late King Hassan of Morocco, President Jiang Zemin of China, President Abdou Diouf of Senegal and President Jacques Chirac of France. As part of his acceptance speech, J.J. Rawlings said, "The fact that these exist against the background of phenomenal scientific and technological achievements in the last decades of the 20th century imposes on us an obligation to intensify our efforts in this new century at making hunger and starvation a thing of the past." He was awarded the Clarence Martin Medal for support of higher education, and in 1994, the Martin Luther King Jr. Drum Major for Justice Award. He is the joint recipient of the 1993 World Hunger Award for transforming his country from a condition of economic crisis to a model of self-reliance, consistently focusing on the need for increased food production. Family. John Rawlings is married to Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings and has 4 adult children. Ghana has lost its former president, John Rawlings, on Thursday, November 12, 2020, at the Coral Bulletin Teaching Hospital in Accra. Some facts about John Rawlings. He is the only leader who was both military and democratic. President J.J. Rawlings walked into the corridors of power through a military coup d'état in 1979 and later handed over to a democratic government. In 1981 he took back power from Dr. Hilla Lyman's government, citing weak leadership plus economic malfeasance as his motive, and after 13 years returned the nation to democratic governance in 1992, where he contested and won 2 terms as president. He was a chorister. Young John Rawlings was part of the Achimota School choir, which performed for President Nkrumah at the Flagstaff House on national ceremonies. He was the Chief of Defense Staff from 1982 to 1983. Flt-Lt Jerry John Rawlings was the Chief of Ghana's Defense Staff from November 1982 to August 1983, making him the only CDs to have assumed the highest position of the land. He was married to his high school sweetheart, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, for 38 years. Mr. Rawlings and his wife, Nana Konadu Agyeman-Rawlings, attended the Achimota School together, and their love blossomed from there. The two got married at the Ridge Church in 1977 with few friends attending. They are blessed with 4 children, Zeniter, Amina, Kamatha, and Yacinta Rawlings. He was a big fan of Michael Jackson. The former president was a fan of King of Pop, Michael Jackson, and his music. They both met on a few occasions and struck a friendship, as revealed by Mr. Rawlings when the latter passed away in 2009. His all-time favorite songs include They Don't Care About Us and Heal the World. President Rawlings was also an avid football and boxing fan. Mr. Boom was also a fan of football and supports the Accra Hearts of Oak Footballing Club as well as the Ghana Black Stars. He was also friends with several coaches, including the late Sam Ardai, among others. He also loves boxing and has been seen at several boxing games. President Rawlings was a practicing Catholic. Unknown to many, former president was a born and bred Catholic man who was born to a Scottish father, James Ramsey John, and a Ghanaian, Victoria Igbatui, who was the head of the catering department at the State House in Accra. He continues to practice his faith even in his old age. Rawlings was the son of a Scottish father and a Ghanaian mother. Many people have always wondered why the former President Jerry John Rawlings' name is not indigenous, and he is extremely fair in complexion. Perhaps, the most appropriate reason is the fact that he was born to a Scottish dad and a Ghanaian mother. Rawlings, the only president in the history of Ghana to have 2 vice presidents serve under him. President J.J. Rawlings was a hard man to please, so it's no wonder he goes into the history books as the only president to have had 2 vice presidents serving under him. After certain issues with Kaukansan Arca of blessed memory during his first term of office, he went in for the late President John Evans Atta Mills as his vice for the 1996 elections. Thank you for watching this video.